Morant blows by Primo. Attack!
Jokic in the power. Here it goes. Got it. Denver has won.
But that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. But this is the hard way to do it, and we did it.
We welcome you in to the Small Ball Podcast, the live edition, the NBA Draft edition. I'm alongside Trevor Mikulin, Christian Dennis, but we've got two new faces, actually one new face. It's our stat guy, Gabe Mueller. Gabe, say what's up.
What is up, Small Ball Pod?
All right, that is his airtime for the night. And of course, producer Andy, we are doing a live reaction to the NBA Draft. We're on pick 21. It's the Denver Nuggets' time to shine. But first, let's kind of talk about the lottery. And fellas, there is a lot to talk about. Trevor, PAOLO going number one.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando, guys, they have been smoke screening us for months. Ever since they got the number one pick, they have been smoke screening the NBA, saying it's either Jabari or Chet at number one. And today, Woj, about 15 minutes before draft time, says it's going to be PAOLO Banchero at pick number one. I was shocked. It's super fun. I mean, I'm honestly not shocked. I love the move for Orlando. You get a guy who's 6'10" and a half inches without shoes on, and he can handle the rock. He can be your number one scoring option. And by the way, we're going to be getting Woj bombs as this goes on. So did you just get a Woj bomb?
No, I just got the next trade, but I was showing Scott because it's his beloved Denver Nuggets that are our pick.
That's going to be happening all stream.
Was it a Kings trade?
No.
It was not a Kings trade.
Denver. I love the pick for Orlando. I think that was the right move. You needed a number one option. You got PAOLO. He's the guy. And Orlando, they have so many pieces. So exciting. What do you think about Orlando's move?
I think it's amazing. I think it's so crazy how they kept it so secretive for so long. And then, like you said, 15 minutes before the draft, they're like, yeah, you know what? We're going to get PAOLO. And I was telling you guys off air that I follow a lot of Rockets Twitter, and the past few weeks they've just been obsessed with getting PAOLO. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be on our team. I just can't wait. And just the rug to get swept underneath them has got to be crazy. But at the same time, you got Jabari Smith Jr., who honestly kind of helps a little bit more on that defensive end.
Exactly.
So no matter what, if you were top three, you couldn't go wrong. But it's just crazy how all of a sudden this number one pick that we thought, was decided weeks ago just switched up like last minute.
That's the thing with the Rockets. It's like, yeah, we're bummed we didn't get PAOLO, but you got a guy that I honestly think fits better with Jalen Green. Jalen Green's your number one option on offense. Yeah. Give him the ball and just let him do his thing. Let him, try and get 30 points a night, and let Jabari spot up and hit open threes and play stellar defense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's an absolute outside threat, and you always need shooting in this league.
Yeah.
And is there any surprise with Holmgren going at number two? I really don't think so. I feel like from the start, it has felt like a vision. Chet at number two. Gabe, I see you shaking your head. Chet Holmgren, what's that fit going to look like in OKC?
I think it kind of fits with everything Sam Presti's been trying to build. Just like a bunch of unicorns that are tall, can handle the ball, shoot.
No kidding, bro.
It's just a team of a bunch of unicorns that can literally play 1 through 5, handle the ball, shoot. I think it fits well. No surprises there. And also, I was gonna say on the Rockets, them getting Jabari and Tari Eason later in the draft, like that's good value. And they didn't move anything. Like the Pistons and the Knicks, and they were all trading tonight.
Did they draft Tari Eason?
Rockets got Tari Eason later.
I missed that while setting up for tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They balled out and didn't even have to move a finger. Like they got really good value tonight.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Andy.
Okay. Scott, can I tell you about the trade?
Yeah, tell me the trade. I'm sitting down for it. I'm sitting down for it. Can I tell you who
they draft? The pick is in right now. Can I tell you?
Yeah, tell me. I'm not even going to look at the screen.
Okay, so they... Okay, so Caden Murphy said, Scott, how is Braun going to fit in and affect Jokic's legacy?
Legacy. Caden Murphy, he's a fan of the show. So thanks for asking, Caden. The problem is usually how Mike Malone's system works is Braun really isn't going to play for probably his first 2 or 3 years. Bones Highland was in an interesting situation because Jamal Murray goes out. They really didn't have a lot of guard depth due to Facu kind of being the number 2, number 3 point guard. So we'll kind of see. They needed a wing. They get some athleticism in Braun as well. But it's hard to tell because he's going to be a guy who's coming off the bench depending on whatever else Denver does in the offseason with Calvin Booth. So it's an interesting pick. Being in those 20s, it's kind of trying to find a diamond in the rough and kind of the later first round stage.
Yeah, I think Christian Brown, is it Brown, right? Yeah, Christian Brown. All right, Braun.
Come on, man.
Braun. It's Braun.
I feel like he's going to be a good role player in the league. He's sneaky athletic. He's kind of like that Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen type guy. Hard-nosed defense. You know, he's a winner. He just came from Kansas, so they know how to win. So, like you said, I don't know how much playing time he'll actually get, but, I mean, he's going to be a solid role player, but nothing crazy.
Chet at number 2, though. That was the initial question. And I love Chet with the Thunder. His fit with SGA, Giddey, Dort, Chet. That is such a good 4. And you could throw Poku in there.
Yeah,
you can throw Poku in there at the 4.
well,
How fun is that if they roll out with that starting?
And they
4?
drafted, was it Dang at
Usman Dang.
Usman Dang at
11.
With who they trade with? The Knicks?
The Knicks.
Another
They drafted
unicorn.
11 and 12, and then they got Jalen Williams,
Another
your
unicorn.
guy.
Yeah. And then they got Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara, who is a guard who can play off ball, but can also play make. So just having another playmaker on the floor is always good. He's a decent shooter, good size, so he's pretty good defensively. I think, you know, what OKC is building is they're building just an army of just dudes who can just ball. It's going to be interesting to see how they progress in kind of the future and how successful this sort of rebuild pans out. But yeah, OKC did a phenomenal job with the draft, especially in the, you know, all their picks have been in the lottery, and they're probably still not done.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of moving towards the next pick. Caden also asked, can you talk about the Pistons' future with Jalen Duren and Ivy joining Cade Cunningham?
I could start us. Great question, Caden. Okay. If I had to choose 2 winners of draft night, first of all, I got the Rockets, which I'll talk about later. But my second winner of draft night is Detroit. They picked best player available. They got Jaden Ivey, a guy that you can tell he's going to be something special. You can look at his highlights and just see the explosiveness. He can play off the ball. He can have the ball. He can really do everything, and just has all of the intangibles that it takes to be a star in the NBA. And I just feel like this guy's going to be an incredible player. And then they went out and got a big. And I really like what Detroit's building there. Now that they have that big, I don't think that they go out and get DeAndre Ayton, which has been rumored for a month now. I think that they're set on bigs. I think that they got Jaden Ivey now, obviously. And all they really need is a 3 or 4 to play alongside Sadiq.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think Detroit basketball might be back. You know, they're super exciting. I mean, Cade Cunningham is a phenomenal basketball player. Now you just paired him with an athletic guard who can kind of do a little bit of everything on the court. Jalen Duren is a monster of a man. I feel like he's going to be a guy who is going to hold down that paint. Phenomenal rim protector. Sadiq Bey, like you mentioned, 3-point threat, also strong defensively. And on top of it, Dwayne Casey's your coach, who is a solid coach. He was coach of the year with Toronto. He's defensively minded. They're going to be really, really fun to watch kind of here in the next kind of couple seasons.
My biggest thing is, what does Detroit basketball being back actually look like? They finished with 23 wins last year. Cade Cunningham is obviously a great player, but I'll play devil's advocate. It's really exciting. They drafted very well, but you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference, and I still see this team as 9th or 10th, not because they lack a lot of talent. They're young right now. And as a very young team, Jalen Duren, he did not prove enough at the college level, especially in his tournament game against Chet, who you guys both love, obviously, to prove that this Detroit team is going to jump from the second worst team in the East to now, if they're back, when I hear that, I think, oh, this team is a playoff contender. Not just a contender, but they are entrenched in a playoff run. I don't see that yet in Detroit. I see that maybe being a year or two away and then some.
Yeah, I mean, they're a rebuilding team. They just had the first pick last year, and they grabbed Cade Cunningham. They hit on that draft pick. They grabbed Jaden Ivey. I think they hit on this draft pick. They're doing everything necessary as a rebuilding team to get back. The pairing of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey is scary. That as your backcourt is so special. They have Sadiq Bey that could play the 3 and the 4 and dominate. And then they have a three-headed monster, not really a three-headed monster at the big, but think about, they have 3 bigs that are really good. They have Beef Stew. They have Kelly Olynyk, who could stretch the 4. And then now they have Jalen Duren. I think that they're really good. I'm not saying that they're going to be great, but if they're 9 and 10 in the second year or third year of a rebuild, and the offseason's not done, they can go out and get Miles.
Kelly Olynyk's not scary. No one is like, wow, we've got to go against Isaiah Stewart and Kelly Olynyk. God help us. Like that's not the thought anyone's having.
Say what you will about Kelly Olynyk. He's a good big and
serviceable big.
And the offseason's not done for them. They're rumored in a lot of different moves. I love what Detroit's doing. Do I think that they're going to be contenders next year? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for a team that was, the second worst in the East last year, they made a pick that sets them up to continue to get better, and they're on the right track. I think Detroit basketball is on its way to being back. I love what they did. Jaden Ivey, welcome to Detroit.
What about Sacramento basketball?
We'll talk about that later.
Well, I kind of want to touch on that because I actually kind of agree with Scott. I don't know if Detroit basketball is back, but I do feel like now they have talent in the building, which they haven't had. They have a lot of talent in the building. Now it's just finding an identity. And I think with guys like Isaiah Stewart, Cade, you're going to kind of get back to like hard-nosed, Detroit basketball when it was like Ben Wallace and all them. So I think it's back in some ways, but I don't know if like next year if they take the jump next year. But the talent's there now.
It's the start of being back. Maybe that's the better phrase because they actually have excitement now around the organization to where like they have solid pieces moving forward.
I totally agree, and that's kind of what I was getting at is you want to be careful because on paper it's like this looks awesome, but it's all about actually what does it look like pieced together.
And last thing I would like to add on Detroit. And something that I think Christian and Trevor are overlooking is they also have a guy there named Marvin Bagley.
Gosh, dude. Don't mention his name on the show.
All right.
Can we bleep that out?
Wait. We hate That's... Well,
some of us hate
we hate However...
More disappointed.
However, in my opinion, there's no denying that Cade is so good that he's made serviceable.
Fair.
Serviceable. Yeah, sure.
But Scott just said Kelly Olynyk is serviceable. So are we just saying like are we just throwing that word around now? He's made
a starting caliber player. And so like when I think of Cade I think of Cade, Ivey, Bey, Bagley, Duren, that's the start of something actually pretty solid.
I mean, I see what you're saying. I think Bagley definitely fits more in Detroit with what they have than whatever was going on in Sacramento. He's surrounded by, what's hoped to be good defensive players in Sadiq Bey and Jalen Duren. So maybe he thrives a little bit more because we're not depending on him to play defense.
Yeah, I'll just finish this segment about the Detroit Pistons with this. Fans, I know the fans are on cloud 9 right now. I'm excited for them, honestly.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think, Detroit fans, because you guys sell us on your team, please, because I believe these guys don't believe yet.
Christian
Sell us.
believes.
I believe. Yeah, don't
Sell us.
attack me. Attack
Sell
Scott.
us.
It's not that I don't believe. I don't know if they make the jump this year, but they're on their way.
That's been the whole argument too. It's not that they don't have talent. It's just when you say all these things, it's phrased in a way of like, yeah, this team is like, watch out the rest of the East. They're not there yet.
I mean, you could
prove it.
Yes.
they do have to prove it, and you never know because like you could talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, how like the Cavs, they were supposed to be terrible this year and they made a huge jump. Obviously they added some different veterans, but I mean, you don't know what's going to go down in Detroit. The East is always so wild because it's just so wide of a range, whereas the West seems like it's more like kind of locked in place of like who's good and who's not.
Now, if the Pistons had a veteran, say like Harrison Barnes, and maybe got Sadiq Bey out of there, I'd maybe be saying they're back.
Fair, very
Well, that's
fair.
a perfect transition. Let's look at the West and let's look at the team who drafted 4th overall and the Sacramento Kings. I'm surrounded by Kings fans. I'm surrounded by producer Andy, who is a Cavs fan. Keegan Murray goes at number 4. What do you got for us, Andy?
Yeah, so we actually have quite a few Kings fans in the chat here, so I'm going to read a few
Represent
questions.
916. Let's go.
Sacktown.
River City, SoCal.
Okay, so
No, River City is sad.
Oh,
Dude, disgrace.
go ahead.
Okay, so we have basic question: how will Keegan Murray impact the Kings? And then, how big of a reach was Murray to the Kings? Did you guys see that coming, or did you see it as like a pretty far reach for the Kings?
Do you want a quick reaction from you? Quick reaction from me, and we'll talk.
So my reaction when Keegan Murray was drafted was disappointment. I'm not saying that Keegan Murray is going to be bad. I like Keegan Murray, and I think his fit works really well for the Kings. But I don't know if I just got caught up in all the rumors of how much people wanted Jaden Ivey. And I felt like Jaden Ivey should have been that 4th pick. Regardless of fit, I think you got to draft the talent and kind of figure it out. But I think, Keegan, he's NBA ready, as they say, and he fits well against Sabonis. We need shooting. We need defense. He's a winner. As he says. So, I mean, it's not a terrible pick. I just was very, very disappointed. It's not a sexy pick at all. It's no wow factor to me.
Yeah. Keegan, if you're watching this,
He's not watching.
There's no chance he sees this.
Keegan Murray,
But talk to him like he is watching.
if you're watching this, I hope he uses his motivation. I'm disappointed in Monty McNair. You picked for best fit available after jumping from 7 to 4. The NBA gifted you with the 4th pick in the draft, and you decided to reach in a 4-man draft. Jaden Ivey is going to be an all-star. Yeah, he will be. And Monty, you decided to choose best fit to save your job. Do I think Keegan is going to be good? Yeah.
He's a Big Ten player.
I think he's going to be good. But do I think he's going to be better than Jaden Ivey? No. He's not. He's not going to be an all-star. Prove me wrong.
Well, Keegan, you heard that. Please respond.
Can I play devil's advocate to this as the other Kings fan here?
Stat guy Gabe, I would love for you to
Give us a stat to switch my opinion, please.
Okay, well, first off, on the stat guy Gabe attractive scale, Keegan Murray is an 8 out of 10, and Jaden Ivey is a 7 out of 10.
Wow. Whoa.
That's a hot take.
Whoa.
Wait, did I say Keegan Murray was an 8?
Yeah, you said he's an 8.
So he's a little bit better than Jaden Ivey. I think Ivey's going to be good, but he's not. Superstars are about looks. We got to sell things.
It's true. There's not a single ugly superstar in the NBA.
Thank you.
Okay,
Let's move on.
But
Let's move on.
That's a different topic for a different day.
But to play devil's advocate, and not just to play devil's advocate, I actually feel this way. I kind of agree with Christian. I think initially I maybe got caught up in the Jaden Ivey best player available hype. But I think there's a few ways to look at this. One, Monte McNair is also on an expiring contract. Vivek wants to win this year. And so I think it makes sense to take Keegan Murray because I think running the lineup of Fox, Keegan, and Sabonis, you probably win more games this year than you would Fox, Ivy, and Sabonis because we don't know if Fox, Ivy, and Sabonis would have worked. That could have been a bad fit. Do I agree that maybe like we're not a good enough team to be taking fit over best player available, but you also have to be looking at it from Monty's perspective. Like I'm supposed to deliver a playoff appearance this year, and I don't think I'm doing that if I take Ivy this year. So was it probably a short-sighted decision versus long-term? Yeah. But did it have to be for Monty's sake? Yes.
Probably.
So I agree with why Monty did it. And I think, too, I also have the benefit of being a Kings fan for only the last year, whereas you guys have been lifelong Kings fans. So you guys are just expecting us to fail. And, like, you guys have every right to because we haven't for 16 years. But I don't know. I have a weird belief in Monty. He's hit on the last 2 draft picks. And I think too, Keegan Murray did that big article with, was it Chris Haynes? Haynes. And he talked about like actually buying into SAC and wanting to be there. And I just feel like he's going to fit with Mike Brown. And I feel like Monty and Mike Brown got their guy. So I was a little disappointed, but I think overall, I think it's good. There's still the whole offseason left. So I don't hate it, actually. I actually kind of like it.
That's a great take. Good take by stat guy Gabe.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Brown also reportedly said he liked Keegan Murray. And, if that's what the coach wants and it's aligned with the general manager, then you can't argue the pick. At this point, we just need to see them win. And that'll shut us up.
Lastly, I think everyone obviously wanted us to trade back because the funny thing is like, was it Jacob who asked about us reaching for Keegan? It may have been a reach, but at the same time, if we would have traded back somehow with Detroit and taken him at 5, we all would have been jumping up and down.
Right.
So it's like, it wasn't a massive reach. It was just, do we think Ivy will probably be better in 10 years? Probably. But at the same time, again, like we got to win this year. Well, I think you win this year with Murray over Ivy.
It's a massive reach because it's a 4-man draft.
It's not massive, in my opinion.
Fair.
I think Keegan's good. I think he'll impress people. And he wants to be in SAC. How many guys actually want to be in SAC? Jaden Ivey didn't even send us his medicals. Like, he didn't even want to be here. We have a guy that actually wants to be here. That's rare. I think we're building something special with Davion and Keegan. 2 guys that actually want to be here. And Sabonis and Fox. That's not bad. Like I said, I've only been a Kings fan for a year, but compared to the last few years, that lineup in general sounds 10 times better than what we've had.
We'll see.
That was the 14th pick by the Sacramento Kings.
Fourth.
No, as in their 14th pick since 2005 in the top 10. So since 2005, they've had 14 picks
Good stat,
in the top
Scott.
10. Thank you, DeMarcus Cousins, being the only one who's made it to an All-Star game. Darren Fox, I think he's kind of sniffing that territory. Otherwise, though, keep that in mind for Sacramento picks in the past. And then, of course, at 5, Jaden Ivey goes. And I know as Kings fans, maybe it hurt to see Detroit, but we talked a lot about Detroit already. Let's talk about picks 6 through 10. Did anything stick out to you guys overall?
What's really interesting, not to skip over the Pacers pick at all, but like what Portland did in Shaedon Sharpe, taking the mystery man. I know there is all the memes of, Dame looking at Shaedon Sharpe shooting and just kind of like, you could see it in his eyes that like Portland was taking this guy. Great high upside. Like I said, we don't really know if he's going to be good, but if Dame Lillard is your mentor, the sky's the limit kind of thing. You're talking about a guy who has done it at every level, but in the finals, and he's one of the best point guards in the league. Shaden Sharp could potentially provide that electric kind of, bounce that they need, which could be exciting. And plus, they just got Jeremy Grant, which is a great addition to Portland. So I'm excited to see what else Portland does, because I don't think they're done with this offseason, of course. So it's going to be really cool just to see kind of what Portland does and if they can get back into, being competitive in the West.
Mission Make Dame Lillard Happy is on full overload right now. It's either make him happy or get rid of Dame. I like this pick a lot because it is a bit of a risk with Shaden Sharp. He misses all of last year. With that being said, though, if it's a hit, it's a really big hit because a lot of people have been very high on Sharp. So with that being said, it's kind of why not take that kind of risk? Because you look at the guys that go past Sharp and maybe there's a little bit more certainty, but overall, if you're Portland, you get rid of McCollum kind of during the season last year. I think this is a great pick for Portland, almost a no-brainer because it's really go big or go home at this point for Portland.
Yeah, Scott, I think you bring up a good point. If you're Portland, you have to take the risk on finding a superstar in the draft, and Shaden Sharp, to many people, has the highest ceiling in the draft. Not saying that he does, but some people do say that he has the highest ceiling in this draft. Obviously, extremely athletic. He's the mystery man. Didn't play in college. If you go look at his high school highlights, they are electric. The guy jumps out of the gym, and he just looks like a guy that could be, a star in the NBA. Like, he has all of the intangibles. The thing that scares me with Shaden Sharp is, honestly, his head. If you go listen to interviews, he doesn't sound like the most, bright guy out there. He didn't play, this year. He left the draft combine early, and a lot of players do that because they have, draft day promises, and maybe Portland talked to him and promised, hey, if you're at 7, we're going to take you. And he felt like it was, all right, I'm good to leave the draft combine. There's just so much that has happened with Shaden Sharp that makes me scared to be a team that picks him. I honestly, he's got, if there's a player that has bust written all over him, Shaden Sharp's that guy. And that's a take I have. I hate to say it. Portland, for your sake, I hope I'm wrong. But if I had to bet money on any of these top 7 guys being a bust, it's Shaden Sharp.
That's fair to say, but I feel like recent drafts, you kind of have to take the interview with a grain of salt because you look at like LaMelo Ball. He was a terrible interviewer, like terrible. We're like, this guy's a rock. Like, there's nothing going on. But he's one of the best young talents in the NBA. Also, too, it's like you got to look at who's in the front office at Portland. They just hired Mike Schmitz to be assistant general manager, and he's been ESPN's draft expert for however many years, and he was very high on Shaden Sharp. And this guy watches so much basketball, meets so many players. He knows talent when he sees it. So I feel like if anyone has a valid opinion on Shaden Sharp, it would be Mike Schmitz, and that's where they felt comfortable taking him. So
is Chauncey still the head coach in Portland?
Yeah.
I just think the only question mark about Shaden Sharp was like his drive. Like, does he have that dog in him? And there was a lot of people like KOC and a lot of people around the draft saying like, him being a bust or a boom will really depend on where he goes in the draft. Like, if he went to the Kings, like, he'd be a bust. There's no way we develop Shaden Sharp.
Fair.
But if there's one guy that like has that dog in him, like, I'm pretty sure that meme on Twitter of like the dude's chest X-ray with the dogs in it, that's an X-ray of Damian Lillard. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he could have gotten a better mentor
situation
than Damian Lillard and Chauncey Billups. So I think he went to the perfect situation.
And you want to talk about good situations. Dyson Daniels, he goes to New Orleans. One of the biggest question marks for New Orleans was, who is the point guard of the future? I'm not saying Daniels is going to be that guy. However, you fit a massive need. New Orleans has also shown they love playing rookies. It feels like last year, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, two great examples of rookie players who got meaningful minutes in the playoffs. So for Daniels, he can go into a system where he's got C.J. McCollum, he's got maybe Zion back, and of course B.I. This could be a great pick for New Orleans, getting a G League player that we've talked about the G League in past shows as well.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels his stock has been rising ever since the NBA draft combine happened and interviews began happening and workouts began. This guy is someone that once teams see and meet and talk to, his stock seems to rise. And you see those players succeed in the league. I think he has a good head on his shoulders. And like you said, that's a great point about New Orleans is they play the rookies.
They love him.
And so if Dyson Daniels is able to perform, then they're going to play him, and they need a point guard. That's their biggest question mark. And the comparison that people have been giving Dyson Daniels is Josh Giddey. And if he can even touch what Josh Giddey did last year, New Orleans is going to improve greatly. And, with Zion coming back, New Orleans is a team that really could make a lot of noise as being a fun, up-and-coming team next year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Dyson Daniels kind of fell into the perfect situation because one of the biggest things about Dyson Daniels that's kind of a negative on his side is his outside shooting, and just kind of more of the scoring situation that he has. He's a better facilitator, and he's playing with C.J. McCollum, Zion, and B.I. Like, they don't need him to score.
They need him to facilitate.
They need him to facilitate, and he's also a really good defender. So, they need more defense at that guard position, especially if you have C.J. McCollum on that team. So, offensively, they won't need to worry about it with Dyson, but I think he'll be a great pick.
Yeah, and we've got producer Andy. He's been kind of getting different questions, comments. Andy, why don't you go ahead? Excuse me, producer Andy. Why don't you go ahead and keep us up to date? What are some of the people saying? And maybe feed us. We have a lot.
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
a lot.
okay. Hey, let's take some time and let's answer some questions.
the mailbag.
Okay, so first thing,
Microphone.
yeah. So the first things first is Jacob asked, "Is this man hyping up Kelly Olynyk right now?"
Give me 10 seconds to defend this.
Okay, go.
Kelly Olynyk, he's not a great defender. He can stretch the floor as the 5, and he gets the job done. He's nothing special, but my goodness, put some respect on Kelly Olynyk's name. That's all I got.
Is it Jacob Maxfield, by the way? Yep. Okay, I knew it. Jacob, you're my dog.
Okay. Brendan
Jacob.
said Keegan Murray, baby.
He's excited.
Keegan Murray.
Yeah. Okay.
Keegan Murray, baby.
Okay. Brendan also said, Kings, are they a lock for the finals? Eye emoji facing sideways.
Who knows?
Hey, Summer League Finals. Summer League Finals,
Hey,
Brendan.
we're reigning champs of the Summer League.
Really
That is
quick.
true.
Defending our title this summer.
Really quick, Gabe brought up a point too. The GM, what's his name again?
Monty.
Monty. He mentioned playoffs kind of on an expiring contract. If y'all are in the East as a Kings fan, you think, yeah, this is a team that could fight for the playoffs. The West, though, we'll see what they do in the offseason trades. Still a lot to happen in free agency. But if the season starts tomorrow, you kind of have to die on that hill. I don't think the Kings are making the playoffs. And that's not a knock on the Kings. It's more so the West is just way too deep right now for the Kings to really have a chance to get in. They have to make some major moves to have a fighting chance to make the playoffs right now.
Okay, second question. This is to Trevor and Christian. Real quick, what is your minutes and projection role for Keegan Murray right off the bat? They're plugging him in tomorrow.
I feel like he's got to play 25 minutes a night, and I'm going to say he has a stat line of 9 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
Whoa. I think Keegan Murray starts because you're drafting 4. You got to start the guy. And I think he shoots 38% from deep. He scores about 11 points per game, 6 rebounds, 1 assist.
Okay, I understand why you guys are upset that we drafted Keegan Murray because you know nothing about his game. If we plug him into this lineup, he's gonna be pretty solid for us. He's scoring 15 plus.
Gabe, I know you're new to Kings fans, but having a low expectation, it just sets you up way better.
And that's why
I'm hitting him low.
That's why we keep losing, because we're expecting low.
I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not in the organization. They don't care what I think.
He is good. He's gonna be good. I promise you. He's gonna turn heads this year. He's 15 plus, 10 boards, 3 assists.
We'll see.
Plus, and that's me going low, actually. I think he's maybe 17, 18 points per game.
Wow. Let's move on from
Rookie
the
of the
Kings.
year, Keegan Murray.
No more Kings talk. I'm sick of it.
Okay. All right. This is for the Bulls. The Bulls ended up drafting Dalen Terry from Arizona. What do you guys think about that?
I actually really like Dalen Terry. He kind of stepped in to be like a point guard role in Arizona. So he's kind of that Lonzo Ball, safety pick. He's a guy that, if Lonzo isn't right, if he's not, playing 100%, Dalen Terry can get those minutes, be that facilitator. He is one of the most competitive guys in this year's draft. I don't remember who the quote came from, but I read it on like The Athletic or something. He's kind of that dog guy. I think he'll represent Chicago well. And we'll kind of see what other moves Chicago does, but I think that's not a terrible pick to kind of get that backup for Lonzo.
I don't know what that fit will look like. He's not going to be a day one starter. He'll come off the bench, but you already have Lonzo, Bradley, and Ayo Dosunmu who kind of came onto the scene. Kobe White is gone. He is not going to have a role at all. So Terry will see some time, but I just can't imagine he's going to have an impact that the Bulls probably want right off the bat. But like Christian said, there's going to be a lot of time left in free agency to see what other moves Chicago will make.
Yep. The Vino said Trevor right now, and it's a crying emoji when you're crying into the camera about Murray.
Yeah. No, I already said what I said about Murray.
And
Gurman, that's how I'm feeling right now.
And then when you said that he wasn't going to be good, they said that was a hot take.
I didn't say he's not gonna be good. I said Jaden Ivey's gonna be better, and I said I run the tape back. I said Keegan I think is gonna be good, but prove me wrong that you're not gonna be better than Jaden Ivey.
Is there anything in there about Bryce McGowan's yet going in the first round?
No.
Oh, that's weird.
And then Matt G said, "I love small ball. Small ball is life."
Thank you,
Thanks, Matt G. You're killing it, man.
CHR San F said Dyson Daniels and Herb Jones a lock. That's sick.
That is sick.
Love it.
That is a defensive nightmare.
Bigger bust alert. Real quick reactions. I need yes or which player for each.
Is a bigger bust? Okay.
Shaden Sharp or Marvin Bagley? Go.
Marvin Bagley, bust.
Scott.
Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley.
Marvin Bagley was drafted second.
He was above Trae Young and Luka Doncic.
And even Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, they preach to the choir. I think it depends on who you're drafting around and who you're drafting with. I feel like even if Shaden stinks, we're not going to look back and be like all-time bust or anything.
Can I give us a talking point?
Let me fly through these comments real quick.
Oh, okay. There's more.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it.
There's like about 5 more.
Let's go.
Okay. Nicole Miller 13. I second Matt's comment. Brandon from marketing. Am I small market if I have to wait until pick 53? And I said, yes, Celtics are dead to us.
Yes, thank you. The C words, as Christian calls them. We don't talk about the C words on this podcast.
Okay, Bryce. Okay, Jacob Maxfield said Bryce is very close to being drafted.
Let's go, Bryce, please.
Okay, last question, and we'll start the segment here. Who has the best mustache out of the 4 of us?
Who's included in this? The 4, because there's 5.
They don't know that Gabe's here.
Gabe does have a mustache.
Gabe, show your mustache to the screen. Stand in front.
Yeah.
Great job. Hey, Andy, good camera work right there.
Yep,
That's
that's
why
high
we
quality.
pay him a lot as our producer.
Yep.
Best mustache out of us 5.
I would rule myself out.
Christian's out. I kind of want to talk about mine really quick. The Colorado Avalanche are in the Stanley Cup final, and it's a hockey trend. And this is a basketball podcast, so stick with us. It's a hockey trend here to grow out your playoff beard. And so that's what I'm rocking with. That being said, I will also rule myself out because it's my hockey facial hair. So Andy, Gabe, or Trevor, I would think I'd vote for Trevor, though. Trevor looks like the best overall mustache.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Nothing else to add?
You don't want to say anything about your mustache?
No, I mean, just been growing it for a year. Appreciate the love. That's all I got.
I thought it was decent.
Do you comb it?
No, I don't comb it.
You know that helps with growth if you comb it.
I didn't know that.
For all our viewers out there, if you comb your mustache, that helps with growth.
That's sick.
Wait, so who has the best mustache?
I guess Trevor. I mean, I don't. Well, Gabe is here too.
I may
so.
vote for myself. As you guys know, I'm actually a big numbers guy. Trevor has been growing his for over 365 days. I shaved actually about 14 days ago. So this is only 14 days in, and I'm already close.
Hey, can you show the podcast camera as well? You showed the Insta Live camera.
It's the big boy.
It's the big camera.
Come
Yeah, get up
around.
there.
Yep.
It's going to be very out of focus, but that's
Out of
perfect.
focus. But
Yep.
imagine that mustache in focus.
Yeah.
It was very in focus, honestly.
And that, my friends, is called showbiz, baby. So we kind of answered some questions. Thank you all for who have been listening and watching this live show. A couple other things. AJ Griffin drops to 16 to Atlanta. We were talking about this before the show. I know it's after pick 15, but this feels like a great get for the Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically slotted in all mock drafts to go within the top 10. He was crazy from the 3-point line this year. He showed sign of some creation. But I think, when you put him on a team with Trae Young, who can get into the paint and, at times is going to need to kick out, having a guy who shot like 45% from the 3-point line is a nice guy to have out there. So I think it's a solid pick.
Dude, he's 6'6", shot 45% on, I believe, 4 or 5 attempts per game. For the Hawks, that's such a good get. A guy that can stretch the floor alongside Trae. That's fun. Even if you don't need him to come in and start, he can come off the bench. They have so many wings, and just to add another guy that can shoot at that clip, super valuable for Atlanta. Great pick.
Do you think they'll try to move like a Kevin Huerter, Bogdanovich? They have a lot of players in that position that, it'd be kind of nice to get him some playing time.
Yeah, I think that they will make a move. Bogdan has been the one in the rumors as of recently. They have Danilo Gallinari. They have DeAndre Hunter, who's notably untouchable apparently, and Kevin Huerter. So they have a lot of wings. If they stayed with that team, they have a lot of assets that they can just throw. And I think that you could find time for all those guys. But it's small ball. It's positionless basketball. Atlanta's a team that I really like what they're doing. They had a tough year last year after making the conference finals the year before. But I really do like what Atlanta's doing, and I believe in what they got building, especially adding a guy like, AJ Griffin. Super fun.
I kind of want to get your guys' reaction to this because I don't know if it just came out, but I'm just seeing it for the first time. So New York traded number 11 to OKC and OKC got Osman. Is it Dang?
Yeah.
The Knicks got 2023 protected first rounder via Detroit, 2023 protected first rounder via Washington, and another 2023 protected first rounder from Denver. So they got 3 first round picks.
Whoa.
For next year, just for the 11th. In my opinion, I think they're stacking up picks to trade for Kyrie or someone like Donovan Mitchell, but that's how it sounds to me.
That's really interesting. Especially since everyone's talking about how 2023 is going to be a really stacked draft, kind of similar to how this year's is, maybe even a little bit better. I'm curious of what those protections are, because when New York drafted him, it was like, what the heck is New York doing? Yeah. But then also on top of it, once they traded it to OKC, it's like, okay, what is OKC doing? But to collect 3 first-round picks for next year, New York can throw a package, and they really need a point guard. So, I mean, how do you turn down multiple first-round picks to try to get some random point guard in the league, you know? So that's really interesting. I didn't know it was 3 first-rounders for basically the 11th pick.
Yeah, they got to be trying to package it for something big later on down the line. I like that take, but yeah, that's my thought on the Knicks.
And that's actually because before hearing that too, it almost felt like an implosion from Knicks fans. There was like a video of Stephen A. with 2 hands on his face, just like, what are we doing? But this at least gives New York a little bit more hope. As a small ball podcast, though, we hope those 3 picks turn into just turd sandwiches.
Yep.
Respectfully, of course. They're respectful turd sandwiches.
I'd rather talk about Jeremy Sohan and what the Spurs did tonight, picking him. A defensive guy from Baylor that in pre-draft workouts showed a lot. I like that. You know, Pop got his guy there at 9 to draft Jeremy.
Yeah, dude, the Spurs it's going to be like Fort Knox. They just are like, have guys who can lock up DeJounte. You have Sohan now.
Keldon Johnson.
You can even talk about Devin Vassell being a good defensive player. Jakob Poeltl is one of the most underrated centers in the league.
Yep.
I mean, the Spurs are going to Spurs. Whatever they do is right.
Yeah, and they drafted Malachi Branham.
Did they really?
Yeah,
I didn't
the
even see that
20th
come
pick.
Right when we were setting up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They're another one of those teams who had a great draft, and getting Branham is awesome. You know, there's really nothing bad you can say about what San Antonio did tonight. They're still in that weird window where it's just trying to get a little bit better and build on what they did last season. And draft night, I think they did just that.
Yeah. No, the Spurs, I mean, like I said, Spurs can't do anything wrong from what it seems like. Everyone fits in their system. They'll make it work. I mean, I've always liked what the Spurs have done. They're the true champion of small market sports.
Yeah.
They really are, and we're kind of getting to that point too, that wrap-up point of the show. But a couple other things. I have to talk about Christian Braun a little bit more in Denver. We had some King time. Let's have some Denver Nugget time.
Come
on. As someone who loves college basketball, as you guys know, University of Nebraska, go Big Red, not much basketball there. I was able to watch a lot of basketball, especially in the NCAA tournament, and that's where Christian Braun played extremely well. But more importantly, Denver needed a wing, and that's kind of what they're getting from Christian Braun. He's listed as a guard, but he'll be able to fit into that 2 or 3 position. What that will look like moving forward for Denver, I'm not sure. There's been a lot of talks circulating what they're hoping to trade, either in Monte Morris, Will Barton, MPJ. His name has been thrown around from time to time. I do like this get, though, for Braun. Being in the 20s, you kind of have to take a chance on players. That's what they did with Bones Highland last year. He turned out to be a great fit, being a second team for a rookie of the year, or not rookie of the year, but all rookie team, which is huge. Now that's kind of the hope in Braun. It's a very Mike Malone pick, which you guys both know. And so as a Denver fan, I'm excited. There wasn't much else to actually really look at in terms of a fit. So Braun kind of fills that need of getting a wing that hopefully can make Denver better.
Yeah, I love that. Denver fans should be happy. I mean, they have a first-class organization and just the right guys to make the pick. I mean, I like what they're doing. And I honestly, if you're talking wrapping up, I want to finish the show talking about our draft winners. Each of us give just a quick spiel on why we think this team, is the draft winner walking away from tonight.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the Pistons, Detroit. I mean, you got your 2 guard of the future to go with your point guard, and then on top of it, you got your big man. This is 2 very exciting players. It's going to be fun to watch Detroit and see how they grow. I mean, I know Trevor and I have talked a lot off air how Jaden Ivey easily could be Rookie of the Year, just based off of what he can do. So My winner is Detroit.
Yeah, my winner is Houston. I really like what they did, just staying at 3, even with Orlando taking Paolo, maybe the guy that they thought they were going to get, and just sticking to the big board and picking the next guy available, Jabari Smith Jr. I think that he's going to be a great fit with Jalen Green, a 3-and-D guy, a guy that shot so well from beyond the arc, played great defense for Auburn. And then let's see what pick they were. They were at 17, and they were able to grab Tari Eason, a 3-and-D guy that can shoot from beyond the arc, and he has all the intangibles and body to be an incredible defensive player. I love what Houston did to put guys alongside, a great young core, and I really think that they won the draft.
And you know what? I could say San Antonio, but I'll do something a little bit different. I'll go with Orlando. I think Paolo Banchero was the best player in this draft. And when you have the number 1 pick, you have to hit on your number 1 pick. I think Paolo is just that for Orlando. I think he's going to fit perfectly for the Magic, and I think he's going to help them. He's kind of in that, Orlando's in that phase where they're not expected to win now, but they are expected to develop and be looking towards the future. Paolo is the perfect fit for that. That's why, as the number 1 pick, I know you can say, it's easy, but it's really not. Orlando hits on this pick, and that's why I'll give Orlando the win of this draft. So with that being said, for our stat guy Gabe, who did a great job on his first night on the Small Ball Pod, producer Andy, who always does a great job producing the show, looking good, third best mustache among us all, Trevor Makeling, Christian Dennis, I'm Scott Ayers. We say so long for now, and we will see you next week.